And the reason that I had selected the Four Horsemen was actually quite simple. So I was pregnant with my son. He's 7 now, so this was around like 7 years ago.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And I was on maternity leave. And, with maternity leave, you are bedridden for a certain amount of time. And so I was watching a lot of TV, movies, TV shows, just kind of catching up on things that I had missed. And one TV show in particular did an episode on the Four Horsemen, and they had them not as good guys, but the way they depicted them was just so interesting to me. And they were on Earth in like these human vessels. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a fascinating concept. I want to know more about it. My knowledge around the Four Horsemen at that time was quite limited.
Mm-hmm,
And so what I did was I went to the Book of Revelation,
mm-hmm.
which is where they come from. And I
Right.
was like, I'm going to learn all of these wonderful things about them. And to be quite honest, they're maybe like in a paragraph this big
Yeah.
explaining them. It's really just them appearing and them disappearing.
Hello, and welcome to Story Power, a bi monthly podcast I created because I'm an unabashed story lover. Stories have had a huge impact on my life, starting with the family movie night discussions my parents instituted when I was a child. I want to share that love with you. As cognitive scientist Roger C. Shanks says, humans are not ideally set up to understand logic. They are ideally set up to understand stories. I'm making it my mission to not only spread the love of stories, but all the valuable things they teach us about human nature and relationships. We humans are emotional creatures, and stories help us examine our emotions from a comfortable distance. They also help us walk in the shoes of the characters to help us see the world in new ways. It's my hope you gain some valuable insights from my guests. Hello, Story Power listeners. Today is episode 139, and I am talking to J.F. Monroe. That is her pen name. Her first name is Jenna, and she's a writer of fantasy, and I love fantasy. So I just finished reading her first book, which is, and I hope I get this right, The Legendary Guardians Reunion. Is that the first one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. And it is the first of a trilogy. And so, Jenna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I can't wait to hear how you started writing in the first place, but also your main characters are very interesting because most of us don't think of the four horsemen of the apocalypse as heroes. So So I can't wait to hear how you got that idea. And also Hades is not usually thought of as a really like heroic character either. So so tell I'm just gonna let you talk about your writing process, how you got the idea of the books, when you started writing even.
Yeah. So I thank you for that. So I've been writing for quite a long time, probably since I want to say high school. I did a lot of, and I had started out doing script writing. So I was very big into plays. I grew up with my mom taking me to a ton of Broadway way back when. And so I had decided that, I love the theater. I'm going to start writing scripts. I love writing scripts, two passions. Let's do it. I was in the drama club in high school. We put on a production. I am a little bit of an oddball. And so they were doing like these wonderful plays
Mhm.
from well known playwrights. And so when they had come to me about a unique, you know, play opportunity, I think I made it into like a horror play. It was so much fun, but I did it because it was a passion of mine. I love to write and I loved plays. And so when I first started to write the Legendary Guardians reunions, it started as a script. Um,
Oh,
however, it would not be contained within like the 90 pages or
Right.
120 pages that a script normally is. I was just
Right.
struggling with it very much. Um, and so it turned into not one, but three books that played out over the course of a couple of years. Um, and the reason that I had selected the Four Horsemen was actually quite simple. So I was pregnant with my son. He's 7 now, so this was around like 7 years ago.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I was on maternity leave. And, with maternity leave, you are bedridden for a certain amount of time. And so I was watching a lot of TV, movies, TV shows, just kind of catching up on things that I had missed. And one TV show in particular did an episode on the Four Horsemen, and they had them not as good guys, but the way they depicted them was just so interesting to me. And they were on Earth in like these human vessels. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a fascinating concept. I want to know more about it. My knowledge around the Four Horsemen at that time was quite limited.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did was I went to the Book of Revelation,
Mm-hmm.
which is where they come from. And I
Right.
was like, I'm going to learn all of these wonderful things about them. And to be quite honest, they're maybe like in a paragraph this big
Yeah.
explaining them. It's really just them appearing and them disappearing. But there was one line that I'm going to mess up, so I'm just going to preface it, where it says, "And death came down, and behind him Hades rode." And now it's not the Hades that I go into in Greek mythology, obviously, but
Right.
I just thought that was so fascinating because my misunderstanding of it was like, oh my gosh, Hades, the first thing that popped into my head was mythology, like Greek, like what are we doing here? Like what's going on? And so I educated myself, but that line just stuck with me. And so that was where the creation of this book actually started, from that particular line in that
Oh,
book.
wow. Oh, wow, that's so great. Yeah, because here we have angels. I'm going to give away enough of the book so that people go read it. There are angels who are not good and demons, which in Deborah Harkness's books, demons are not bad.
Right.
They're just demons. Uh, but these demons are not so good. At least the leaders of the two are not good. Now, I'm assuming because it ends at this cliffhanger, the first book does, that, and I read the first chapter of the second book, that they are looking for allies among the demons and the angels because there's this discontent happening in both those realms. Now, I forgot to get the name of the angel realm, but the demon realm is Voidheart. What's
Yes,
what's the name of the angel realm? I forgot to
it's
write it.
Arcanadia.
Arcanadia, yes. Yes. I knew it started with an A, but I was trying to find it in the book and oh well. I said I'll just ask her. So Arcanadia so I'm assuming that the second book, because they were just heading off to Voidheart. I'm
Yes,
assuming the second book is all about that,
it is. Yeah.
getting getting their allies among the demons, and then going to Arcanadia and getting the third book is going to Arcanadia and getting their allies there.
Perhaps. So the third book is in editing right now.
Ah, I was going to
Um,
ask about that.
and so yes and no
Ah,
to that particular statement.
okay.
Yes and no. We do visit. I am a very big believer in, if I'm going to tease something, I have to follow through. So you do see Arcanadia, not as much as you like. Descent into the Void Heart, which is the second book, is like you're in the Void Heart. You are
Right.
doing, things are happening there. It is an actual setting.
Mm-hmm.
In the third book, we jump to different settings, and one
Oh,
of them is Arcanadia, but it hops around a little bit.
oh, okay, cool. Now it's just going to be a trilogy, is that right?
It is, yes. It's just going to be it.
So far.
So far, yes, yes. So the so far comment is very fun because yes, it is a trilogy. I haven't really thought too much about expanding it, but I have been asked that question before of like, would you do, spin-offs of different characters? And
Mhm.
consider it. I definitely would. I love these characters. They've been with me for many moons. So I'd be happy to keep.
Yes, I like them too. And there are ones that I want to know more about that we don't, I mean, they're there, but we don't know much of their backstory. Uh, like River is one of them. I want to know more about River. And Mac, I want to know more about Mac. Uh, but yeah, so that's always a fun idea. But maybe you have other ideas for other series, do you?
For series, no. Writing this trilogy was a lot. It took a lot
Mm,
out of me. And so I do have a couple of ideas brewing in my head, but mostly they are, like standalone. I hope. I fingers crossed. You never know with me. It could turn into a trilogy, but
yeah.
I would hope to write like a nice little standalone novel if I could. Take a
Yes,
little
right.
break.
Yeah. Now, so you've been writing since you were in high school. Do you still write plays? Because my background's in theater too, although I'm not a playwright. Uh, but yeah, I used to work in the theater, did all kinds of jobs among acting and stage managing. And then when I started teaching, I was directing and but I did lots of other backstage stuff as well. And it- I kind of liked when I took playwriting when I was getting my master's, I kind of liked that whole idea of being in control of the story. But you can do that when you're a novelist as well. And so that's what I actually ended up doing was writing my first novel. And now I'm in the editing process or the revision process of my second one, which there are just two. It's just the sequel, but there's just going to be two. It's not going to be a trilogy. So, yeah, so do you still write plays?
So I do not write plays too much anymore. I probably transitioned into writing novels. Well, for myself, because this is actually my first published piece.
Hmm.
Sometime in college, because when I went to college, I started out in theater. That was the dream. I was really
Hmm.
into it. And then I think I took a creative writing class
Mm.
and I loved it. And I loved it because it focused a little bit more on like fiction writing,
Hmm.
not so much as a play, but just as like, just writing pieces of fiction.
Hmm.
And I absolutely ate that up. And so I think that time in college was like my little transition period of like,
Hmm.
I still love plays. I still go to plays. I think they're
Hmm.
wonderful and fascinating.
Hmm.
But I do it as just a happy spectator rather than like
Hmm.
someone who wants to get into that particular field.
Yeah, and that it's so hard because I have talked to people who work in on Broadway even and were producers or work in the business part of it. And it's just so hard because they cost the plays, at least in New York, cost so much to produce.
Yeah, I I wouldn't even argue against that. I can only imagine, how much it's skyrocketed since, I my last play wasn't too long ago, but I've seen the difference in how, it
Mhm.
was back when I was a kid, just kind of dropping into Broadway and it was almost like a thing you did versus
Mhm.
now where it's more like a treat that you give yourself.
Yeah, because it's really expensive. The tickets are expensive. Yeah, yeah.
They
Yeah. Well, and I kind of like that my I have a friend who took over my teaching duties at the college, and he was a professional, a theater professional, an actor, a director. He taught courses. He was a dermat what do you call it? A dramaturg. Yeah, he directed. So he did all these things. And one of the things that he really put me onto were these 10-minute plays, short little plays, which I think is just such a great way because he's now also in charge of the community theater. He and another theater professional kind of took it over. And sometimes, they'll do original plays, or they'll do plays by playwrights that Dave knows, or they'll do these short little plays. And it's so great because gosh, you can do so much with,
That's wonderful.
yeah, with that. But I'm not really a short form person, I realized. I can't do it.
Same. I wouldn't be able to do something in 10 minutes to save my life, but I applaud those that can. And I would love to like sit through it. I like my attention span is there. I just
Mhm.
personally couldn't do it within that. Like I really do applaud them.
Yeah, couldn't write it. Yeah. So do you write short stories? Because I'm not even a I can't even write short stories.
I can't do it because my brain just goes. So like I can start with an idea and say like I got this. I can write a short story. But then the characters are like, no, but look, I want to talk to you about this and I want to tell you about this and
Hmm.
let's happen over here. And it's just, I can't do it.
Right, yeah. I've never tried it. Maybe I should try because sometimes people say the constraint is what makes them hone their skills better. But yeah, my mind is like, because I'm always there's always stuff going on in the back of my head. And oh, I get this idea. I got to add that to the story. Oh, I get this idea.
It's just, it's just the way some brains work. And
Hmm.
so my brain is very similar to that. Like even with the first book, I'm so proud of it. It's my first published work. Could it be better? You're your own harshest critic, right? And so, yes, of course it could. But then you go on to book two. Like I personally tried to take my journey as an author, and then I took my journey as a reader. And so I
Hmm.
read the first book and I was like, good job. You set a foundation, you started a story, they're on the journey, you're establishing parts to the you're playing it out, right? But it's just
Right.
the first part. Give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
And then the second book, which I'm going to be a little biased here, that was my favorite one to write and it was my favorite one to publish. And honestly, I feel like you can see the actual difference. And so my brain learns as it goes
Hmm.
and you see that in the writing. So like when I read book one, I'm like, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm so, so proud of it, but that's my learning experience. And you see me go as I continue on in the story. And then you get to book two and you see the growth there. I'm a
Hmm.
very big believer in like earned growth, like go
Right.
as you and learn as you go and learn on the job, if you will. And so
Hmm.
like that's how I kind of carried myself throughout this trilogy. And I'm excited to share that part because there are so many people, so many authors out there that are so ridiculously hard on themselves. And at the end of the day, like you did something that there's another person out there that didn't do. Like you published a work, and that's a very vulnerable thing. Um,
Yes.
and so I just want to say, like, have a little grace with yourself because I
Hmm.
had fun writing this book, writing these three books.
Yes.
And you learn as you go. So
Right. Yeah. So I had a question while you were talking, and then I was listening to you, and I forgot what it was.
sorry.
I do that often. So, um, like, what kind of fantasy books do you enjoy reading, and authors? And
Yes. So I love a lot of different fantasy. Like I can read a great Sarah J. Maas, but I can also read I think it's Brandon Sanderson who did like the
mm-hmm,
Mistborn trilogies. I can get into that. I grew up on in fantasy, so like I remember, back in third grade we read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And so
mm-hmm.
it was things like that, Lord of the Rings I read probably a little too early, but I still had an appreciation for it. Um, and so I love to dabble in different types of fantasy. I will say, and I'll be completely honest here because it did actually affect my work. Um, in fantasy, there tends to be a ton of world building. Not my favorite thing in the world. I like less is more to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I don't need a 120-page description of like this town. Like you just give me the basics of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I struggle a little bit in that area, but I will dabble in every type of, I like fantasy, sci-fi, horror. Um, I'm always open to just, I like books that can capture my attention and keep it. So if that's the type of book I pick up, I'm okay. I'm good to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I liked that in the book that I read, the whole premise of there was a war and the humans, the angels, and the demons all had to come to some sort of a treaty, and that's all set up before, I mean, it's the backstory for the
Yeah,
book. And then they had this mechanism by which the four horsemen and well, River was part of that too. But anyway, the four horsemen are there to kind of keep the peace.
yeah,
And I'm with you. I when I first started really avidly reading, I my mom pushed these romance novels into my hands. And it was at the time before romance novels expanded into other, including other fun things into the books, like a mystery or or
yes.
historical fiction or something. Um, and after about 10 of those, I went, these are all the same. And I started reading James Michener, which, like, why did I? Oh, I forgot. I also read Taylor Caldwell
Okay.
historical novels. And but James Michener can do that. It's page after page of description. And I am a visual person, so if I'm gonna read a book and the movie comes out and I haven't read the book yet, I always watch the movie first because then that gives me visuals
Right.
for the descriptions in the book. If they adhere to that. And a
Yeah.
lot of times they stick kind of close. There are certain things you can't do in a movie that are in books. But yeah, so I didn't miss it. I mean, I thought it was the world building was just fine. I didn't think that it needed page after page after page of world building.
Yes, good. Because I couldn't do it. I remember looking at my book and I was like, I could go into more detail, but I also want to allow the reader to, visualize what they want to visualize. The world that I wrote about wasn't too far off from like today. It's
Right.
not like a crazy change. It's just that, they're living in a world that houses angels and demons in other lands, but
Hmm.
they have the same stuff that's going on today. It wasn't like anything necessary to kind of like, okay, I have to go into this because nobody's going to understand what this is.
Right. Yeah, it's not a completely new like in sometimes in sci-fi we're on a new planet.
Exactly.
And oh, we have
Exactly.
to figure out the yeah, the where the
Yeah.
planet is.
Like a,
Yeah, I kind of have a hard time building uh the new if okay, let me go to my book. My first book is a two timeline thing. The stuff in the past was so easy to write, but stuff in the present was not as easy to write for me. Because, oh, what do I include in what's really going on and what do I leave out? That kind of thing. And so, and that was a real problem with my second book because the two women are involved in the suffrage movement in their suffrage movements in their timelines in the
right.
second book, and so there wasn't anything for Jenna to do in the present when I first started it. So I was like, oh, I just
Oh,
wrote Morgan's timeline until something happened, and yeah, but so I can understand what you're saying. And the other thing that I liked about it was the character development. Since I used to be an actor and a director, I'm really into stories that have a lot of character development. So that's what I enjoyed about your book was the character development. and the slow revelations of what happened to Shade and Theo when they were apart for those 10 years. We get that slow revelation and how that affected them. And I kind of like that kind of thing. I'm just really into that. So, um, yeah. So when now I remembered what the question was. When does the third book come out? Do you know yet?
I'm trying to do every 5 to 6. And so I'm aiming, fingers crossed, for like a early January.
Hmm.
Because the second book dropped in July. And so I think, yeah, like early or middle January would be ideal,
Hmm.
if I could have it go the way that I want it to go. And we're on track. It's in the editing process right now. We're making really good time. And so I don't see any holes in that. If
Yeah.
I feel like we can get that done.
Yeah. And who's the publisher?
Me, I'm an indie publisher. I say we
Oh,
a lot because in my full-time job, I'm a director, and so like I just I'm like team oriented, and so I'm
yeah.
always saying we even when there's no we. It's just me. It's me. So
So you don't have anybody helping, like beta readers or editors or that kind of thing?
I have people helping me, mostly their family. So like I really rely on my niece a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She's been a wonderful support system for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really, we were raised more like sisters, and so I just very much trust her opinion and feedback. Like I feel like give it to me straight, like I'll tell her, like, don't make me look like a fool out there. Like tell me what's going on, and she will. And I love her for that. And so she actually, before I even published a word of these books, I had her read through it, and like I was like, is there something here? Like, do we got something here? And she was like, yes, no, I think you should definitely publish. And then I met through a friend, a person who kind of like edits on the side. And
Yeah.
so I went from there and
Yeah.
used their services. So
Yeah, I'm probably going to need to do that this time. I think what we're going to do, because we independently publish my books too. I'm in my 70s now, but I was in my 60s when we published the first book. And I said, I don't want to wait for a publisher for 3 years, down the road. So, and my husband happens to be a graphic artist, so he could lay it out, he could do the maps, he could do the cover, all that. And so, and he's done tons of newsletters, so he's done lots of editing. But I do have a friend now that I met through Story Power who's a ghostwriter. She's written a book, she's in the process of writing a series of novels, but she's also written the screenplay for the first novel because the producer came along and said, we need to make this into a movie. So she
that's
wrote the
amazing.
screenplay for that. Yeah, she had fun learning how to do that. So she's going to help me. And I need, I've been living with this book for a really long time, and I need some other eyes to look at it to tell me, take this out. We need more info here.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And I mean, utilize that support system because it's hard. It's very, very hard to publishing is actually the easy, writing the book and publishing the book was the easiest part, but marketing your book, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different components. I mean, jokingly, I was like, I'll just publish it and put it out into the ether, and then people will buy it and they'll love it, and that's it. But I knew there was a marketing component, never knew the extent to which you had to publish, to which you had to market these books. And so any help, I also utilize, it's called Fiverr, um, Fivver, and it has a whole bunch of consultants that will help you on anything in life. But like they have editors on there, they have
Mm-hmm.
graphic designers on there. I get my book covers from a person on Fiverr, and they're so lovely. They're so nice, and so I would definitely recommend that website in the event that you need somebody outside of your scope. Like if I know you got graphic design covered, and now you're going to have like this editing covered, but if anything else pops up, I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely site.
Yeah.
Well, it's really nice to have a lot of podcasts under my belt, not just publishing, story power, but being on podcasts, and then also Podmatch has helped. So that's what I kind of plan to do when I publish Times Echo. I will relook at the space between time and then market them together.
Perfect. That's
Yeah.
actually a really good plan.
And
I'm hoping to do the same.
yeah, all three of them. Yeah.
Yes.
And then yeah, and be on lots of podcasts because I like doing that. But we're in the process of revamping my website and then maybe having like a newsletter like this is what the podcast is doing. This is what my Classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters YouTube channel is doing, where we talk about one, we take one classic movie and we talk about it. This is what the books are doing, that kind of thing. So
Yep.
my husband's helping me with that too. And I belong to Prolific Writers Life, which there are lots of experts there. And I'm an expert too, but it's just wonderful to have people that I can go to ask questions, especially about marketing, because I'm not very good at that. So,
You, you and me both.
mm,
It was a learning curve that I don't think I was fully prepared for. It's gotten a little easier now because I'm just like in the thick of it. Like I'm used
mm-hmm,
to it. Not because
mm-hmm.
it's like comfortable for me, but because I'm just like I've done it already. So we're okay. We're doing
Right. Yeah. So when you publish the third book, will you have like a launch of it?
Yes, I'm super excited. So how we did it was we I tried to build the first book. I didn't build any momentum. I did it backwards. And so I just got excited and published it, and then I had to do the marketing. And so the second book, I learned from that little error.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to build up a little bit towards the launch of the second book, and
Ah.
it did a lot better. And so now I will build, I'm in the process of still marketing the second book and a little bit of the first.
Mm-hmm.
The audio book for the second book is coming out at the end of September. And so I'll be on that train for a little while. And then I'll slowly start to build up marketing for the third book to launch, hopefully in January.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay, good. Oh, I'll have to learn from you. I'm so busy right now, though. Oh my goodness. It's just like I'm trying to keep my head above water. I have too many projects.
I
Now,
hear you.
but you're working full time and writing. That's like having too many projects.
It's a lot. My job is very rewarding, but it takes up the majority of my day. It's a strict 9 to 5. So it's drop the kid off, get to work, try to do a little bit of self-care because that's important too. And
Mm-hmm.
then my nights are usually reserved for writing, which is wild to me because I'm usually a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
But no, my best writing, most of my writing for these three books at least, came at the nighttime. I put the kid to bed. Or at least he's resting and pretending to sleep, but he's in another room. And I am on the couch, and I'm just, the husband's doing his thing, usually maybe like playing a video game or he puts on some TV. I just kind of lock in for a little bit of a couple of hours if I can,
Mm-hmm.
3 hours, 4 hours before my eyes start to betray me and I need to go to sleep at some point. So,
Because that's sort of my nighttime ritual is to read. And I know when I can't keep my eyes open anymore, it's time to go to sleep. Uh, yeah. Sometimes when I have insomnia, I'll pick the book up again at 1 o'clock in the morning and
there
read,
you go.
but yeah, yeah. So I can't do the nighttime writing. I don't know why. It's got to be in the morning for me. And a lot of times it's like blocks of time. Like I have 2 or 3 days and I get to work on it, and then I have to go do these other projects. So there are no right or wrong ways to write a book.
No, I'm a firm believer in that. There's no right or wrong ways.
Yeah.
And be careful what you look at on the internet. I did that and I get like overwhelmed a little, like easy. So that I shut that off real quick. Like I tried, I made a valiant effort of like, let's see how to start. No. You need a Microsoft Office, a Word document or a Google Sheet, and you're fine. Just start
Mhm.
writing your book.
Right.
There's no right way or wrong way.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the Apple universe, so I use Pages. But yeah,
That's fine.
yeah,
That's
right.
fine too.
That's right. And they there are people who say you have to plot out your story. I am not a plotter. I am a what they call a pantser. I have the idea for the beginning and the end, and then I just go.
You just
But
fill in the middle.
what?
I said you just fill in the middle. I get it. Like that's what I
That's
do.
That's right, yeah. But one of the people that is in Prolific Writer's life, he writes mysteries. And so, of course, he has to plot out his story because they're mysteries. You got to have the right, you know, when do I reveal this little thing? And when do I reveal this little thing? You know, to draw the reader into the story. But
Correct.
Yeah, so I don't fault those kind of people, but I've never been a spreadsheet person. When I had to teach English instead of theater for a while, you're supposed to teach the kids how to outline so they can write their essays. I didn't do that. Fortunately, as a teacher, you have to go through these, you have to take these courses, little workshops. And one of them happened to be on thinking maps. And there was one thinking map called the tree map that you could use for brainstorming, and you could also use it for organizing your essay. So,
Okay.
so I taught the thinking maps for organization instead of, because even when I was going to school, I never got the whole outline thing. For some reason, I couldn't get it in my head how it worked.
I can't, you couldn't pay me to do an outline. I didn't like it in school and I didn't
Mhm.
carry it with me into these novels. I can't do it.
Right.
I remember, I think in one of my first podcasts, they said that. They were like, "Are you a plotter or a pantser?" And I'm like, first of all, I have no idea what pantser means. It doesn't sound great, but I feel like I'm not a plotter. So I might be leaning more towards pantser.
Yeah.
And so they kind of defined it for me, and I was like, yeah, that's me to a T. I love
Yeah.
to just kind of, if you got it in your brain, get it out on paper.
Right.
And then you can figure it out after. But I got to
Right.
do
Now,
that.
I do have a notebook where I keep like the list of names, and
Yeah.
I start off with maybe this is what could happen in this timeline, and this is what could happen in this timeline. But, and I do refer back to it because I forget names of my characters, especially if they're not, you know, in the book a lot.
Right.
And I have to
Right.
go back. Oh, now what is that character's last name? Stuff like that.
Awesome.
And how old is my character now in the timeline?
That was so difficult for me. It was age, and I think a couple of times eye color, because eye color was pretty significant in the book. And I'm like,
Right,
what color did I make their
right.
eyes? So I had a notebook of like, this person's eye color is this. Like, so
Yeah.
I completely relatable. Completely.
Yes. Yeah. So I have to keep those kind of notebooks, but yeah, it's not really organized.
No, no, of course, that's not who we are. Like,
That's right.
it's a little notes. That's all.
That's right. Notes everywhere. Yeah, right. In fact, I just went through and divided it up into its chapters. And so I had to make a list. Chapter 1, this page to this page. Chapter 2, this page.
It's just, as long as you do it and it's done, you're fine. Who cares how you get to it? It's
That's
gonna be
right. Because the people who are reading it, they don't know that process.
fine. No, exactly. They don't know the painstaking where I'm like, are his eyes hazel? Did I make them hazel? And I have to go back, instead of pages, I could just go to my little notebook and be like, okay, well, this person's eyes are hazel. I was right. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, I loved that Mac, the dog, had one blue eye and one green eye. I love that.
yeah,
Um,
that I remembered. I remembered through the whole thing. I was like, one blue eye, one green eye. We're good. We're fine. Everybody
right.
else's, it was up for grabs. I had no
Yeah.
idea at some point.
Yeah. So, yeah, tracking the ages for me was the hard part because the second book goes over a long period of time. So, yeah, I had to keep up with the ages, especially in the past, of people in the past, the women in the past. So, I had to go, keep up with that. But yeah, I just have a notebook every time I write a book. Now, when I'm writing an essay, I just write an essay, and I'll write an essay for like Prolific Writers Life newsletter and send it off to Lorraine, who's the CEO of the company, and she'll come back and she'll go, "Oh, this is really great." And I said, "You don't have anything that you want me to change about it?" "Oh, no, it's really great." Well, I have it organized somehow in my head when I'm writing it.
Exactly. It just, there's no real process to it. It just kind of like you have a, sometimes even like with the scene, if I start writing a scene, I gotta finish it. Like some people can jump,
Mhm.
can't do it. Like I can't jump. Like if I'm in a scene, even if I get stuck, I'll walk away, like take a break from it
Right.
and come back and then write it. But like I can't, and it's so hysterical because it's like we're pantsers, right? So we just
Hmm.
kind of go as we please, no outline. But if I'm in a scene, I can't function unless that scene is complete, and then I can move on to the next
Right. And
one.
sometimes I move on. I think it's complete. I move on, and then it comes to me. Oh, I have to go back and there's something that I forgot in that for that scene. So, so in a way, I'm editing as I'm writing because I'm realizing I'll wake up in the morning. Oh, I forgot this. I have to
Yep,
go have that. Yeah,
exactly.
right. Oh man, Jenna, it's been so fun talking to you. Do you have anything you want to say before we go?
I usually just love to end on like a piece of advice that got me through. It's not advice, it's actually a quote from an author that got me through my entire writing journey. Like even with the creative doubt and intrusive thoughts, or whatever you want to call it, writer's block. Everybody calls it something different. And it's from Terry Pratchett, and he said that the first draft is just you telling yourself the story.
Hmm.
And ever since I heard that, it's carried me through the entirety of this trilogy. So even when I was like, this book isn't that great, or, you have feelings of like, why would I publish this? I'm not even enjoying it right now. It's not even out there yet. Like you are just reading through the story, you're in the editing process, you're doing your thing. And so the first draft is you telling yourself the story. Like just
Hmm.
breathe, get it done. And then when you're ready, you can publish it. You don't have to really wait for anybody else. And so that's how I got through it. And I love that quote because it
Yes.
kept away all of like the bad feelings and
Yes.
just let the positivity fly in. And it was
Yeah.
a really great journey. So
Yeah. I had a friend, her name was Deborah Strait. She helped me with my first book. Unfortunately, she is dead now. But she used to say, "Your first draft is crap." Which
that's an
was like,
amazing thing.
okay. So it's not as nice a way of saying.
That's the friend way of saying it though. Like Terry Pratchett, that's the author way. The friend way is like, no, it's crap. And that's okay. Like you're
Yeah,
okay.
right.
That's
Because
perfect.
she was a writer too, and I've read two of her books that she published before she died, and they were really great. And it was like, oh, but remember, the first draft is crap, so don't worry about it because you can always go back and fix it.
It's such a rewarding feeling to just know
Yeah.
like you could just go fix it. Don't sweat the small stuff, right? That's what they
Right.
say. So don't worry about it.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I'm looking forward to reading the second book and then the third one when it comes out. But I might have to wait for a little bit because I have a lot of authors coming up and I have to read their books.
That's okay. Thank
So,
you.
yeah, but
Yeah.
go now. It's available on Amazon. Any place else?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited. I think it's all connected. The first book is on Audible, so if you prefer to listen to the story rather than read the
Mhm.
story, you can do that. And the second one is also on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited, and will be on Audible at the end of September. So that's where you can grab.
Okay, great, great. Because we want you to go read the books and then write a review because that helps authors. Write a review.
Thank you.
Yes, right. Thank you so much for being my guest.
It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
I hope you not only enjoyed this episode, but gained something valuable to take away with you. If you like what you heard, please share it with your friends and give us a rating and or review. If you're a story lover too, I invite you to join my Patreon community at patreon.com/storypower, all one word. Or you might be interested in classic cinema with the Sage Sisters, a YouTube channel and Facebook page I started with my sister Celeste, where we choose one classic movie that we think still has lessons for us today. As you can see, I'm passionate about spreading the love of stories and completely believe what Philip Pullman said. After nourishment, shelter, and companionship, stories are the thing we need most in the world. Until next time, this is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden. Thanks for listening.